This Chat with the Experts is brought to you by Angie's List on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Chat with the Experts, brought to you by Angie's List. We just had Bob Weiss of Integrity Automotive join us on the show to share with us all about caring for your car this winter, be it your tires, batteries, or more. It was a really great chat, and as we continue the conversation, it's time to transition to our Writer's Block segment, which is where we spotlight one of the creators of Angie's List magazine and online content, and today's guest is our good friend Tom Moor. He's a reporter with Angie's List that covers a variety of home improvement topics, but he's best known around these parts for penning a weekly automotive column. And when it comes to auto issues, Tom is our newsroom expert with advice for repair, maintenance, and even the buying process. And we're excited to have him joining us on the show once again today. Tom, welcome back to Chat with the Experts.
It's great to be here, Kyle. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we got to start with this. There's going to be no Royals in the postseason this year. I'm bummed out.
I'm sorry,
but for
sorry
you,
to hear that.
Yeah, I appreciate the condolences. But you're just getting started because the Cubs are primed and ready to go, and we're recording this before they've played a game. By the time this airs, they'll have played two.
That's true.
How are you feeling? Is this the year the Cubbies finally win it all?
I'm hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Yeah, spoken like a true Cubs
fan. I mean, I'm crossing my fingers. This could be the year.
Yeah,
but it may not be. You never know with the Cubs.
We're pulling for you. I know how good it feels to win one. So I hope you get.
Yeah, I hope
feel
so.
That as well.
Thank you.
Well, to get the conversation back in the automotive direction, you're currently working on a story about whether or not mechanics are licensed and certified.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to write this story?
Yeah, so I write a weekly auto column, like you mentioned, and a lot of the stories I write are on, repairs, how often you should repair your brake pads or get your oil changed. But I hadn't done a whole lot of stories on how to go about finding a reputable mechanic. There's a lot of reports out there and complaints from car owners saying that they've been upsold, when they go to the mechanic. They go in for an oil change and they end up leaving with a new air filter, in some of these cases, repairs that they didn't even need.
Yeah.
So I'm doing about a package of about 6 or 7 stories, and one of the stories in this package is whether or not, mechanics are licensed or certified, and just to let people know if that's something they can look for before they hire a mechanic.
Yeah. So did you find that individual mechanics are required to have a license to do their work?
Actually, surprisingly, very few states require individual mechanics to be licensed. I'm still kind of wrapping up the story right now, but so far I've only found that 2 states, Hawaii and Michigan, require the mechanics to have licensing. In Hawaii, for example, you have to pass an exam, a mechanics exam, and you have to show that you've had at least 2 years of experience, hands-on experience with the mechanic. And Michigan's similar. You have to pass an exam.
Yeah.
And there are a few other areas in the country. I think a couple counties in South Florida might require some of the mechanics or the shops to have at least one certified mechanic. But when it comes to licensing, very rare. So like I said, so far just those 2 states.
So I would imagine that was pretty surprising to find out.
It was actually, because, through our research, we found that some states require hairdressers, shampooers, and even florists to have a license. Yeah. But the people that are actually responsible for keeping your car safe on the road actually do not need a license in most cases. So that was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And you mentioned certifications a moment ago. Is that something that's required? And what did you find as far as any common certifications for auto mechanics?
Again, same as licensing. No states that I've found so far actually require the mechanics to have certification to become a mechanic.
Okay.
However, I spoke with Bob, who you were talking with earlier for this story, is one of my sources. Now, he typically, and I think this is the case for most reputable mechanics, he typically only hires mechanics if they have certification.
Okay.
So although it's not required, in order to get a job as a mechanic, they're usually going to look for that certification. And the main certification for mechanics is through the Automotive Service Excellence, or ASC.
Yeah.
And they offer 16 different test series, from auto maintenance and light repair, the school bus certification.
Okay.
So if you are going to get certification, it's through this ASC program.
So what does that process look like?
It's typically... Well, most of it comes through, in order to get your ASC certification, you need to pass the ASC exam.
Okay.
In order to pass that exam, it's going to be very helpful for you to have hands-on experience and know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these mechanics, they go to a trade school to learn their skills. They get the hands-on experience. And then when you're ready for the test, you can get a practice test, kind of study up on the skills you need to have, and then you take that test. And if you pass it, you're ASC certified in that area. And if you pass certification in several different ASC areas, you can become a master tech. And Bob, as I just mentioned, he actually is a master tech because he has several certifications.
So are you able to speak to what percentage of mechanics in the country are actually certified?
I talked with a representative with the ASC, and he said about 300,000 mechanics in the United States are certified, and that equals to about roughly half of the mechanics out there.
And I would imagine you're only going to want to consider hiring somebody that is certified. Is that how you look at it?
Yeah, for the most cases, I would think that's true. Although, from speaking with the ASC and several highly rated mechanics, I asked them that exact question, and they said that's not necessarily the case because they know mechanics without ASC certifications that actually are really good mechanics.
Yeah.
And they also said they've met mechanics before that have ASC certifications and are really bad mechanics. But if you're not really familiar with the process, I think it's a good idea to ask the mechanic, is your shop ASC certified? Do you have ASC mechanics? Right. I think overall you want to hire a mechanic that it's just a proven way to show that they have those skills that that to become certified.
So how are you going to know if the shop that you choose has ASC certified mechanics on site?
Well, you can go to the ASC website and you can do a search. They have a tool you can search and find ASC certified mechanics in shops around the country. You can also ask the shop owner himself, hey, are your mechanics ASC certified? And hopefully they'll give you an honest answer. And they do have some kind of certification usually on the shop's wall that will say that, hey, this shop and the mechanics have ASC certification.
Yeah, very good stuff. While we've still got a couple minutes here, I want to shift gears for a moment and talk about another auto story that you recently wrote about DIY dent repair, which I thought was really interesting. So DIY dent repair, is that something that's actually an option for a lot of car owners?
It's definitely an option. I'm not sure, I've never fixed a dent on my car. I'm not even sure if I would be comfortable doing that. But just from researching for the story and talking the auto techs out there, it's definitely an option. But there's some stipulations about whether or not you want to try this yourself, obviously.
Sure. Now, what sort of tools are you going to need if that's something that you want to do?
I've found if you're going to do this yourself, you can go online and they have online kits. You can buy these things for maybe anywhere from $10 to $100, and they'll come with all the tools that you need, whether it's, I think, some screwdrivers, some hammers to hammer out the dent. There's just a few various tools that you'll need. And it seems like if people are going to try and do this themselves, they go online and buy these online kits, or they can go to AutoZone or an auto parts store and maybe buy the kit there.
Yeah. So as you were doing the reporting, was there anything that stuck out to you of like, this is something you really need to know if you're going to do DIY dent repair? Yeah,
I think, there's two different kinds of dent repair. One is paintless and one is conventional. Paintless, just like it sounds, are dent repair that doesn't require paintless touch up. If it does require the paint to be touched up, it's probably best to take it to an auto tech to do the work. Now, if it does not need the paint touched up and it's more of the paintless work, then it kind of depends on how big the dent is. One mechanic or tech I spoke with said that if the dent's the size of a dollar bill or smaller, then that might be something you can tackle yourself.
Yeah.
But also, if the dent's small enough and you're thinking about doing it yourself, then it's probably not very expensive for the body shop to do it.
Yeah.
So depending how much know-how and how comfortable you feel you might be doing the work.
Well, that's great information. Tom, that's all the time we've got. As always, we enjoyed having you on the show, and really hope that the Cubs don't put a dent in your enjoyment of the October season.
I appreciate that, Kyle. Thanks for having me, and I'm crossing my fingers all month. It's going to be a stressful October, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks to Tom and thanks to Bob Weiss of Integrity Automotive for joining us on the show today. If you missed anything at all, guess what? You can find our podcast on iTunes. You can listen to all of our past episodes. Just pull up iTunes on your home computer or the podcast app on your smartphone. Search Chat with the Experts and hit subscribe. You can also find the videos of our show on YouTube. Just search Angie's List. That's going to do it for our show this week. I want to thank all of you so much for joining us. I'm Kyle Hawk for Chat with the Experts, and we'll catch you next time. With 20 years of experience under our tool belt, Angie's List guides members through all kinds of home improvement projects, from kitchen sinks to koi ponds. And you can find our advice, tips, and information, including articles, videos, and even podcasts in one easy place. The Angie's List Solutions Center. Don't delay. Visit angieslist.com/articles to learn more today.